Welcome to the Inside All Day podcast. As always, spoiler warning ahead. I think it's over. I think it's finally safe. Christmas is past. Kringle rests once more. We've successfully avoided Mariah Carey's Christmas songs, and Paul McCartney tried to get us having a wonderful Christmas time, but we avoided him as well. All I know is it's 2023, and we are back, baby! Welcome to the Inside All Day podcast, where my headset just fell off. I'm here joined, as always, by my beautiful hostess, Nadia.
Hello.
And we're here today to, say hello. And
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And talk about what happened here at the end of 2022 and get into 2023.
We're back. We're back, baby. Yep. 2022. Talk about the best and the worst. At least in TV and movies today.
Well, I think most people would agree 2022 was the worst.
I can confidently say that 2022 was the worst year of my life. But hey, I'm still hanging in there.
Yeah.
I'm grateful. When we took a pause, and some of our listeners know, my mom passed away suddenly, unexpectedly in October. I'm really appreciative of everyone who reached out. We took a pause just to give me some time. But I kind of want to dedicate this episode to her. My mom has always been somebody who was my cheerleader with anything I could do. I have a background in film and art, and she, no matter what kind of project I was working on, what idea I had, she always was a big supporter of it. She also was my movie buff person to talk to about stuff you wouldn't watch, like the dark, scary, or true crime. So I'm really gonna miss her. I'm gonna miss her like hell. But yeah, I hope she's enjoying watching us from wherever she's at and watching over us.
I think we should start with the one thing I can confidently say will always be one of Robin's favorites. Her daughter and all the artistic work she did, but that seems like the obvious answer. So let's go with the real answer here. Her favorite song, because it's getting hot in here.
It's getting hot.
So take off all your clothes.
Yeah. My mom, yeah.
We're at that generation now where these are the songs. These are the songs they grew up with.
The older songs?
The older
generation. These are what our kids are going to think are like oldies and classics. Oh, geez. But yes, thank you to everybody who's reached out. A lot of people who we had just recently met, some content creators and stuff. Everybody has been so kind. So really appreciative to everyone. So thank you guys. But I don't want to have this episode be a downer because my mom wouldn't have wanted that. We're going to celebrate what we enjoyed in 2022 and then some things we didn't like so much in 2022. But yeah.
Well, I'll tell you
ready to get into it.
I'll tell you one of my favorite things in 2022, as I totally hijacked the conversation, was that, hey, we were finally able to get our hands on a PS5. Happy birthday to me.
I like how that we were driving. It was 5:00 in the afternoon. And you're like, we should stop at GameStop.
I believe it was like 4:00 on a Wednesday.
You're like, we should stop at GameStop and see if they have any PlayStations. And I'm like, Chris, there's no way. We pull up, there's a sign on the door, and you can't read it, but you see there's like a little PlayStation symbol on it. And I'm like, see, they probably put on the door that they don't have any. And you're like, let's just go in. Okay. I said, if they have a PlayStation 5, we'll get it, and then we'll go back and get you a new TV too, because we were shopping for TVs anyway.
Yeah, our TV was failing.
And lo and behold, we walk in, and what did these guys had like 11 of them, digital and disc.
And I was lucky enough to get the edition that comes with the copy of God of War Ragnarok,
which I've been enjoying watching you play. Watching it. I mean, I like Norse mythology, so it's something I really enjoy.
No, it's been really cool. The graphics are outstanding, amazing, and epically mythic.
What do you think about, because I believe they just announced that Amazon doing a series on God of War?
Ooh, man.
It's one of the major networks.
Yeah, I think it was Amazon, but I will tell you.
But they're starting with the Norse, the 2018 game.
That makes more sense to me.
Yeah, but I feel like it takes away the whole background for Kratos, because the Greek, I feel like it's such a strong foundation of storytelling that they're just going to skip over it, which if they had started where the first game started and such, and it's successful, they could do 10, 12 seasons of it.
Well, I'll tell you this, to paraphrase Mugatu from Zoolander, Norse mythology, it's so hot right now.
I know, right? It's a big deal lately. It's been creeping into our pop culture and stuff.
Creeping into everything.
But yeah, I've enjoying watching you play that game.
The story has been good.
The artwork's amazing.
Been epic. Yeah, the art has been absolutely
just gorgeous.
Fantastic. I like
you haven't finished it yet, though.
No, she gives me a hard time because I haven't finished
but
it.
But Thor's design in it is
yes,
probably my
favorite.
favorite.
Just about to say,
I'm not so much of Odin's. Odin doesn't look intimidating to me in the game. He just looks like a grandpa. He just looks like a But Thor's design, I really like his design on it. But I guess that would help us kind of segue into the best and worst of 2022.
Yeah, because, I mean, we'll talk about the fact that God of War, definitely one of the best of 2022. Put a stamp on it. Bang.
Even though he hasn't finished the game, so he really doesn't know.
I haven't. In fact, she'll tell you she yells at me because I haven't abandoned it.
For Midnight Suns?
But I've been waiting for so long.
You rather your CW drama game?
It is such a CW drama game. And after seeing the God of War graphics, I'll be honest, everyone, this game gets a hugely positive review from me if you can get through the high school dialogue. And the fact that the graphics definitely do not look like God of War. That being said, if you are a board game fan, or I should say a card game fan, this has got a really interesting setup. It's card-based, it's tactical. Yeah, if you love Marvel, this is a great place for you to go. Just, viewer beware.
I can't say anything because the game I've been playing lately has been Disney Dreamlight, and I hate the fact that I'm giving more money to Disney, but it's a really good distress type of game where it's like what Animal Crossing could become, and I think they're going to take it further in 2023 after I watch some videos about like some rumors of things coming out. But the one game I'm so excited for 2023 is Hogwarts Legacy. As soon as that game comes out, you won't see me for weeks. Like, I really hope it's living up to the hype that it is. I'm such a Potterhead. I love everything to do with Harry Potter. I mean, your mom sends me a Harry Potter gift every Christmas now, which she gets me these beautiful books that are pop-up artwork for them. They're gorgeous. So I'll be really excited for that game coming out.
Yeah, Hogwarts Legacy does look awesome. Of
We're gonna have
course,
to fight over the PlayStation.
I know you'll be playing Gryffindor, right?
Excuse me?
She's literally, for those of you in podcast land, she's literally wearing a Slytherin hoodie. Or excuse me, sweater, not hoodie.
Excuse me, did you just call me a Gryffindor? Or assume that I was going to be a Gryffindor? How Hufflepuff of you.
No, I knew what you were. I just knew that saying Gryffindor were going to rise out
I would
of
think you would be excited about it for... You're a Hufflepuff. I mean, you're not as big of a Harry Potter nerd as I am, but this is the first time you're going to be able to see the Hufflepuff common area.
Down near the kitchen.
Yep. Where they're huffing and puffing.
Listen, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Let's put it on tape. Yeah, of course you go back, you read the books, you watch the movies, and it feels like, what did Hufflepuff ever do? And I'll tell you exactly what Hufflepuff was doing while Gryffindors were saving the wizarding world and some of the Slytherins were trying to stop them, and the Ravenclaws had their beaks stuck in a book.
I mean, one of the biggest Hufflepuffs was...
Cedric Diggory,
yeah,
who died
Robert
in
Pattinson.
one book.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so with that said, using him as one of the very few examples of Hufflepuffery... It's a new word. I'm copywriting it. As we talk about Cedric Diggory's Hufflepuffery, we will say that, of course, they weren't saving the world. They were too busy partying and getting laid.
I will always go back to a story. A friend of mine was in line for one of the Twilight movies or something, and it was like a premiere or something, and Robert Pattinson was walking by. She was able to, get his attention for a second, and she goes, I liked you better in the Harry Potter series. And he goes, yeah, me too.
I knew exactly that was going. That's great.
But anyway, all right, let's get into our best and worst. We're going to go with best TV of 2022 that we really enjoyed this year. The first one we're going to mention, which not a lot of people have talked about. Like, I have not seen any reviews on this series. Okay, maybe one or two, but not a lot. And I think it was one of those shows that just we were caught off guard by it.
Exactly, and that's why we're nominating House of Dragons.
This is not one. I mean, we'll get into House of Dragon.
It's a show that no one's ever heard of.
It's called From. From.
So
From.
good on. Was it on Epix, right?
Epix, yes.
EPIX?
It's about a small town of people who are stuck in that town. So if you drive into that town, it's almost like you're entering a different parallel universe, and there's no way out of the town. Once you're in, that's it. And you're following the story of this town at night. They have to board up everything and put these protective symbols on their houses and stuff because there's creatures at night. I would say they're almost kind of like vampires in a way.
I don't want to say they're vampires.
They're not vampires, but they're kind of a mix between vampires and ghouls, I would say.
I'd say, yeah, I think ghoul would probably be pretty close, but yeah, they look like humans.
But they like transform into
and they're utterly vicious.
Humanoid type of creatures. Anyway, it was great. Like we were hooked from day one.
Whole time.
Episode 1, hooked. So, obviously there's internal conflict. They're all trying to, and everybody in this town is from different aspects of the country, and they're finding that they're entering in different ways. So, like, it's
coming from different states.
They're trying to figure out how to get out, but also figure out where they're at. And we were both watching it, and we're like, oh, it's got to be like maybe a government experiment, or maybe they're in a parallel world. But the more and more you think about it and more you read into it,
hey, we accidentally segued.
I think it's Norse mythology. Right? It's a lot. The rumor is it's based, and I believe the Russo brothers either produced or wrote this series too. So I'm not 100% sure. I think I'm like 99% sure, but I believe they're involved in
Marvel
it.
Film, so
yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
Not gonna lie, the golden age of Marvel. But yeah,
Winter Soldier.
I would say From is one of our top contenders for 2022.
Yeah.
If you like creepy mystery thriller shows, I would highly recommend it.
Even if you just that's the only show on Epix you want to binge, I can't recommend it enough. It's worth the probably whatever the monthly rate is again for Epix. I don't remember what it is.
You can get it like a free 7-day.
Like a free 7 days. Binge the crap out on a weekend. Totally worth it. You will be back for the second season.
Yeah, it got announced, which we're both happy about.
Yes, that has been announced. It is getting a second one, but we don't know when yet. So stay tuned.
And then, by the way, obviously Stranger Things came out this year too, and our first episode was on Stranger Things, so I don't think we need to really go into details that Stranger Things was one of our favorite shows this year. But if you like Stranger Things, you'll like From. Yeah, I think that weirdness to it, I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, the kind of pseudo sci-fi. I don't know what the heck is going on, but the story's still somehow moving forward.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then another show I liked, and you kind of pseudo watched through me, was Archive 81, which I was really disappointed they didn't get a season 2 on Netflix. But it was, again, another kind of thriller, creepy show, I guess. It's about a guy in our time who's able to communicate with somebody in the past and finding these clues. I think I'm not giving it justice of how to explain what it is, because I don't really want to spoil a lot for people. But if you have not checked it out and you like thriller, sci-fi, and horror, I would 100% recommend you try Archive 81.
Wait a minute, isn't that the didn't you just describe the Dennis Quaid movie where he talks to his son in the past and they
No, there's also that Keanu Reeves movie, The Lake House, where they write notes to each other, him and what's Miss Congeniality, what's her name?
Oh, Sandra Bullock.
And they're like in different times, but they're able to communicate through letters. I've never seen the movie, but that's what I pick up from the trailer.
That's what you say to maintain street cred.
So
he's never seen it, guys.
It's not like not like that drama, the Dennis Quaid movie, nor is it like The Lake House, which is like a romantic drama, I guess, but it's more scary. Scary or thriller or sci-fi. Cult is involved. Like it hits all the numbers for Nadia, so yeah. I enjoyed it. Again, I'm disappointed it didn't get a season 2, but it is based off, I believe, a podcast series, so maybe there's more there. I haven't been able to indulge into it, so who knows? And then I guess segue into that, which this is a weird segue, but we'll go from sci-fi into Peacemaker.
James Gunn.
What did you think of Peacemaker, Chris?
Well,
Well, it's on our best list.
yeah, it's on our best list, so obviously that's a good thing. I will say, we say the same thing every time we talk to anyone about it. It was an interesting start because we both feel like it finished strong. We both liked it a lot. It's, once again, clearly on our top of 2022. But boy, oh boy, did we spend those first episode or two really just going, oh man, this is awesome. 5 minutes later, this is fucking terrible. 5 minutes later, oh, that was great. 5 minutes later, God, I mean, I could literally do this all day. It was like the first 3 episodes. But yeah, it was worth sticking with. The off kilter humor, the bringing in some of the characters you don't see all the time.
I think it was the best and worst part of James Gunn. And I say that as I think James Gunn is really brilliant in some things he does, and I think sometimes he relies too much on trying to push the buttons too far. I really enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy 1. I didn't enjoy 2. I liked that Superman horror movie he made.
Brightburn.
That was good. And I liked the Suicide Squad. Granted, it was definitely an improvement from Suicide Squad. So, I don't know, not a lot of merit, I guess. I think he's brilliant. I think he's funny in certain sense. I am the same way with you with Peacemaker. Like you said, the first couple episodes we were back and forth of like, do we continue this? Do we not? And we're not really both big fans of John Cena either, his acting career. So it was like a toss up. But I think after the third episode, the story kind of really took off. And it was enjoyable. Like, we were looking forward to a new episode of it every week.
Hats off to Eagly.
Right, Eagly.
Keeping the whole show together.
And I believe it got greenlit for season 2. And
he's in charge of
DC,
DCU,
but I think it got greenlit before he took over DCU.
That's fair, I agree. But let's be honest, it's James Gunn. Even if it didn't, by the time he got in charge, it would have magically been greenlit.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of
has his wife in it or anything.
I know a lot of his characters are all coming back for season 2, so not a surprise. While they cut people like Henry Cavill out, and I get it. Let's just pull all the roots out and just start from the. But I don't know. I feel like it's too late.
No, I think it needs to be done. I think the biggest problem they had was that they wanted to compete with Avengers when they couldn't because they hadn't put in the work to do the world building to have the Justice League. And I think it was, no matter what you do, it's going to be a painful transition. But I think that's the proper move, is I think to, sadly, yet again, restart everything for DC. I
don't know. I think superhero movies, though, are.
Oh, I think it's over. I think he's going to be
over.
I think James Gunn's going to. Well, let me throw away what I was just saying, because this would be far more interesting to talk about. I think James Gunn will be the end of comic book movies.
You think so?
I do.
Which is sad because so I think there are a lot of great comics out there that should be movies. Mm-hmm. I like more indie stuff, and a lot of indie stuff can be made into TV shows and movies. But I think the mainstream of Marvel and DC, I think people are just a little
burned out.
Yeah. I think Marvel did a great thing about taking its time and building over the 10 years and putting the little Easter eggs and I remember how excited everybody was about end credit scenes. But I feel like lately with every single Marvel movie or every single DC movie, if they do it, it's just a trailer for the next one. There's nothing exciting about it. And
Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money.
Yeah.
And of course they also, I don't know if you ever heard the joke, they talked about Spaceballs 3, The Search for Spaceballs 2.
I think James Gunn has quite a big a toll up against. I think but again, he likes to take the most weird characters and make them blossom in a sense. Like, I didn't know about Peacemaker before Peacemaker.
Well, I think a lot of the reason this works, and I do want to clarify what I had said, because we got we got a little bit away from me dropping the bomb that I think he's going to be the end of comic book movies. But I really just feel that in general, pop culture is just kind of moving away from that. I think it's moving into more of a background thing in general, regardless of what he's doing. But I think he's going to come in. He's going to James Gunnify it, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but everything comes with pros and cons. And I think we're going to see a lot less of the more mainstream heroes, and we're going to see a lot more of these third string.
I bet we see more villains.
We could probably see that too. But when you were literally just saying, how he's going to be bringing in these characters, and I think the reason he does that is because there's so much more room to edit the character.
Yeah.
He's not going to be able to go in and say, Superman's like this now. But he can go in and say, hey, this character that was in like 2 issues of Green Lantern one time. Yeah, we're going to throw him in there. We're going to give him a little bit more. And this is his kooky, crazy thing he does. Because that's what James Gunn does.
Yeah. Yeah. I will be interested to see because I think they're going to be announcing soon the lineup, as they put it together. But it'll be interesting to see. Anyway, moving on from So Peacemaker was definitely on the list.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Next one, which was a surprise for everyone, House of Dragon. Nobody was expecting House of Dragon to be as good as it was. I know you...
That's because we all saw the last season of Game of Thrones.
The last couple of seasons of Game of Thrones.
Touche.
And granted, I think it really brought me back to why I enjoyed Games of Thrones in the first place.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I take a couple points off because eventually it will lead to Game of Thrones. But I think it's so well put together. The acting was phenomenal. I think the set design, the costumes, like every little detail was great. What I loved about it was it took me out of what was going on in my real life and let me focus and just escape into a story without having to bring any current, both political or pop, like nothing into it. It's just a story being told. And I really enjoyed it.
What? A story told?
And Matt Smith?
This day and age? Without a public message involved? I don't believe it.
It's so weird to not have a public message involved in pop culture, right? Because, I mean, granted, throughout since pop culture existed, right? Back to caveman drawings, there's always been an influence in what is going on in the real world, right? There's always an influence in anything you read, watch, play games.
Unavoidable.
It's unavoidable. But it was really nice to just kind of just enjoy a story being told out. I think Matt Smith was just a gem.
Oh yeah, he was the clear far and away star of that show.
And then is it Paddy Constantine?
Oh, you're asking the wrong person.
I know, but I think he was great as Viserys.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow. I believe if Oscars were given to TV shows, he should get an Oscar for his performance. I think and I love how they're setting it up for the next season. You, however, didn't really like the political back and forth.
It's not that it wasn't the political back and forth in it. It's just that this is going to sound lame. I understand that, but we already did Game of Thrones. It just feels like Game of Thrones 1.01. Doesn't even feel like we went up a version. It's like they took the ideas and concepts they had and went, hey, this made us money. Let's just paint it a different color and see if anybody notices.
Yeah, but you can say that about books because it's based off books, and Germ Martin, wrote this book too. So you could say that it's just taking. I mean, everybody wants to dive into lores.
Rumor
of stuff.
has it he may still be writing this book,
or the next book, right? Yeah. Apparently, he's gotten pretty good into the latest book, but we'll see.
The latest book he's
writing. Yes. I remember I was watching a video. He's like asking, because Stephen King puts out books like 3 or 300 books a year,
a week,
right? And he's like, "How do you do it?" And King's like, "Oh, I have like a set schedule. Like I have a rigorous thing that I do to make sure I'm writing so many pages.
I have this thing. It's called a job
per day."
That's what I do.
Germ Martin's like,
"Oh
no, I just like if I feel like writing." Like,
I think
pop
he
out a
just
page.
wanders around his house.
Is there a
and
video
when-
of him like jumping on a trampoline
Yeah,
and like
and
wandering
yeah.
around his house?
When
And
when the whim hits him, he just like farts out a page.
I also think he's kind of over it too.
I think he's over it. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I truly think he's scared of it.
I don't think he's scared of it. I honestly think he's just over it. I don't think he expected the series to be as popular and big because people were reading it prior to the show, but the show introduced it to a new set of people who are like,
much
oh,
wider
let me read the
audience,
books.
right.
Yeah.
You know, I agree. I see what you're saying, but also he's been taking so long. He's so far away from finishing, and
I don't even think this is the last book
well, that's my point. I don't mean finishing this book. I mean finishing
in the
in
series.
general.
You think there'll be a ghostwriter
And, you
after?
know, yeah, I mean, I think he just he spent a lot of time on it, and it's Game of Thrones. It gets more and more complicated as it goes, and then you get to a point where the show passed it up, and he goes, "Well, shit."
Yeah.
And it's like,
Well,
okay,
he
well,
wanted-
now people already have an end. What do I do?
He wanted like 13 seasons of Game of Thrones and to properly do it. And the showrunners were like, nope, we want to go work on this Star Wars show that we got greenlit for. Oh, and they bombed Game of Thrones and then
And then they got dropped.
dropped
That's the
for their
best.
thing. So, hey, karma. But
The
I
force
think
was strong with that karma.
I would still say House of Dragon is something for people to
No, House of
dive
Dragons.
into.
House of Dragons was still a win. I just wasn't as in love with it as everyone else seemed to be.
Yeah. Well, I enjoyed it. I am excited for season 2. I like Daddy Damien.
There's a joke in there somewhere about him saying he can keep his tongue.
Right. And the other
Sorry, Mom.
next show I would say I really enjoyed for best end of series, season 6, Better Call Saul. That show is so well written, so well directed, so well acted. Like, I'm really sad it ended. And what I liked about the last season is not only did it tell you the pre-Breaking Bad Saul story, but it gave you what happened to him after the events of Breaking Bad. And I think it was just so good. Like, it was so good of a series.
And I watched it entirely passively.
Yes.
walking through the room. I can't add much to this. I'll let you take over after I throw in my one little bit. But I did. I was there for I think it was like the second to last episode of season 5. I caught the last 10 minutes or something, and it was like one
The
of the
most
best.
intense
Yeah, it was such an
scenes.
intense 10 minutes of I'm like, I don't even know what's going on. But I feel like if I leave where I'm standing right now, I'm going to miss something.
All right, full spoilers. Full spoilers. For it.
spoilers.
The scene you're talking about is when
Engage.
Lalo,
I think you mean the swordsman.
came up on Saul and Kim and threatening them because he wanted to know the
Tell me the story
of
again.
it. You missed in season 6
Tell me the story
the
again.
episode where where Lalo came in while they were arguing with Howard, and you got to understand, Saul thought Lalo was dead. Kim knew he was alive. He was, by that time she found out. And this guy just came out. Howard's arguing with it, and all you see is Lalo come out from the shadows, and Kim and Saul just like freak out, trying to warn Howard, and then Lalo shoots Howard, and it just sets off a whole set of things. But that scene you're talking about, I think, was really reflective in the one I just described. It doesn't give it justice, but I had to rewatch it. I had to rewind it and rewatch it again, and just, I was like, because I was kind of passively watching it from the corner, getting myself something to drink, and then all of a sudden I see Sal's and Kim's reaction, and I'm like, what are they scared of? And then I had to rewind it, and just the way this guy just comes out of the
Prowls in.
blurry background while Howard's like talking to these two, yelling at them. It's just, I felt the hair on the back of my neck just stand up. It was so well good. Yes, Better Call Saul. If you like Breaking Bad,
This is literally Breaking Bad side story.
Saul, I think Saul is one of the best characters from Breaking Bad,
And Mike.
and Mike, and both of them are in this, and I think it just kind of lets it just evolve more, and you get to know these characters more and more of their motives, and then it makes me want to go back and watching Breaking Bad to see
How things line
how
up.
things line up. Yeah, it's just so good. And then from that, we're going to talk about your favorite show that I didn't watch, Shorzy.
Shorzy. Oh, what can you say about Shorzy? For those of you out there who haven't been watching Letterkenny, what have you been doing with your life? Shorzy's a fantastic spin-off series that came out this year. If you have been watching Letterkenny, you know what it's about. And for those of you who don't, I'll start with Letterkenny real quick, which is about a small town in Canada named Letterkenny.
Didn't the last season just drop?
These are season 11 literally came out this last week.
Yeah.
So it's about the small town of Letterkenny and the problems these citizens go through in their day-to-day lives. And it's a very dry, very quick humored, quick-witted show. Sometimes crass, always funny. And Shorzy is one of the more louder, crass, abrasive elements of the show. But it's really great because they took it, they made a sideshow out of it, a spin-off, and quite frankly, it was pretty excellent. They actually gave him such a depth I was afraid they wouldn't be able to give him.
How did it line up against Letterkenny as a whole?
Letterkenny as a whole, I think it does it justice.
Okay.
I don't think it tracks. I don't think it pulls away. I don't think it makes you go, oh, okay, this is going away. This is bad now. It's a money grab.
I know you repeat things from that show all the time.
She's trying to bait me into repeating something.
No, I'm not. I'm not trying to bait you into repeating it because I hear it all the time.
But yes, so if you are into Canadian humor, you're looking for some hockey humor on top of that, I can't recommend it enough. It's on Hulu right now, and you're going to follow the story of Shorzy as he plays in the No-Show Hockey League to go ahead and try and get himself a couple of W's with his team.
Check it out, bud.
I wish you weren't.
I wish you weren't so awkward, bud.
I wish you weren't so awkward, bud.
And then with that, I would say also Vox Machina, right?
Yes.
That was a really bad segue, but I don't care. But,
it's okay. Hey, you know what? It's because it was a bonus action.
Yep. Vox Machina.
The origins
Critical
of Vox
Role.
Machina. Yes, for anyone out there who's
Animation.
a fan of Dungeons and Dragons and is not aware of Critical Role, I would always recommend checking out what they got going on, because that is a highly entertaining Dungeons and Dragons podcast.
And mind
show.
you, we watched this show from 2 points of views. You like Critical Role because you've watched Critical Role, both their show and in person. I could care less. Nothing against those guys, but it's just not
your cup of tea.
I mean, I like playing D&D. I really enjoy playing D&D. Just not my cup of tea to watch these guys play it. I don't get any entertainment out of it. And I also think I came in a little bit late on it too.
That's why I think we need to start you on the new season. But they just released their Kickstarted Amazon series this year,
which got greenlit for season 2.
Yep, and
it was enjoyable. Like, for somebody who has no idea,
highly enjoyable.
The first season of Critical Role, which this is based off of, their first season characters, right? Mm-hmm. I liked it. It was fun. It's definitely not for children.
Yeah, I'd say you're going to see animation and you're going to think, oh, the kids will enjoy this. Maybe not.
Yeah. Maybe not. I wouldn't. But
Vomit,
I thought
wenches,
it was good.
Drinking. I was going to say killing, but
lot
really
of
it's more fair to say
pantsless-
murder.
What is it? He a pantsless halfling?
Oh, you think
Bard?
of Scanlan? Yes, the somewhat pantsless gnome bard.
Oh, is he a gnome? He's a gnome, not a halfling. Okay. Yeah.
Look out for the cube.
Yep. So I would recommend it. I think it was a lot of fun. I'll look forward to
everybody,
season 2.
and it's the best part is they're all voice actors, so they all just did their own character.
And I don't think you have to really be into D&D to watch it. It's just like a fantasy animation. It just tells us. I mean, if you're into D&D, it's pretty cool because you get to see little D&D Easter eggs in it, like certain creatures that they're fighting and certain storylines. But if you're not a D&D person or fan or play it, and you just like fantasy, watch it. It's enjoyable.
Yeah, absolutely. You're gonna laugh. You're gonna cry. You're gonna have a hell of a time.
And then I would say the last show we'll recommend for Best TV would be the only Marvel show that we have on the list, Werewolf by Night.
Yeah, Werewolf by Night was
A surprise.
It was a surprise, and I think it caught some undeserved flack because I think a lot of people who didn't enjoy it kind of missed the point of trying to remake
Of the campy,
exactly.
Yeah, the old school horror.
I'm not even
black
a horror
and
person,
white.
and I get it.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. I thought it was really cool to look at. I enjoyed the black and white choice of it.
Mm-hmm. You were also a really big fan of how they didn't really choose to go with a very 3D animated werewolf.
Yeah,
they
no,
did like
old school.
classic Wolfman
look to
practical
it.
makeup.
Yeah.
It was cool.
I thought, yeah, so I would say Werewolf by Night, the only thing from Marvel I would recommend this year.
Ooh, that hurts.
Yeah, I know, which is a disappointment.
The holiday special was okay, but I don't think it makes.
Oh, right, Guardians of the
But
Galaxy.
do you think that makes a spot on the top of 2022?
I don't think. Well, okay, yes, because it actually was enjoyable and fun, and it's something I would watch every Christmas.
Well,
that being said, I didn't remember it to put it on the list, but it's like one of those things like, oh, I'll watch it again next Christmas. But
yeah.
I wouldn't say, maybe it's not the best, but it's definitely not the worst. It was enjoyable.
How about this? It's
cool.
one of the better things Marvel put out this year.
Yeah. So, okay, second best thing Marvel put out this year.
Rain.
All right, let's get into worst TV because we got to also get into movies as well. So, worst TV, I feel like it's no surprise to anyone. Well, the first one's kind of a surprise, Midnight Club, which was really a disappointment because I'm a big Flanagan fan. I love everything he's done. Midnight Mass is probably...
Yeah, we generally give Flanagan...
I can talk 3 hours on... I could talk forever on Midnight Mass.
5 out of 5 woohoos, but yeah, this is 1 out of 5.
We didn't even finish it. It was just so... It dragged so much. It just... The characters didn't catch me. It just...
Well, because they were focused so much on telling the short stories... that I feel like
I was confused of like the overall. Yeah, which is a disappointment because again, I like all of his stuff, his movies, his other TV shows, but
and I'm here for entertainment. I only want to be sad about dying kids for so long.
Yeah. I mean, I understand where he was trying to come from, and I'm actually really excited that he's now gone over to Amazon and he will be taking over the Dark Tower series, which if you put King and Flanagan together, it's a great combination. So I will be really excited to see. Granted, I still kind of want to see what Amazon had already done with Dark Tower because
No, you don't.
they had no. It looked, from what I heard, it looked really good, but it was just getting too expensive. So it'll be really interested to see what Flanagan does with it. Again, I think he's great at any King properties, and he does great with his own property. Midnight Mass is his property. Like, he created Midnight Mass. But this was just not a hit for me. Just not a hit for me. I don't even know if it belongs in the worst, but it's just...
You know what?
I have no desire to finish it.
Just like we did that was the best for Marvel. That was the worst for Flanagan.
Yeah.
In fact, as such a Flanagan fan, and I need to get my every podcast plug-in, how do you think he'd do as the director of the Dresden Files series that needs to come out?
Oh, man.
Is he not, like, does he have the comedy chops for it, though? I know he does the Stoic in the series.
Yeah, he does. Yep. Yeah, he does.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
I think, I don't know. I think he would do well with a Dresden series.
Series,
I just want
movies,
somebody to pick that book back up. That IP backup. It also
not
could
sci-fi.
be,
please not sci-fi.
yeah. It also could be that Butcher doesn't want anybody creating anything until the whole thing is done. It could be that. I don't know what's going on with that, but it would be great to see if somebody else could take a shot at it.
Mr. Butcher, when you're ready, come talk to me. I promise you, there are very few people out there that enjoy the series like I do.
And then another one, Rings of Power. That was bad. Let's just
Rings of Wah Wah.
Yeah,
Or
let's
should we
move
keep
on.
doing the
It was
Wah-Wah
just
jokes?
bad, guys. It was just bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand how it got a season 2. I don't even know why they even want to waste the money. I don't get it. It is not even as much
tried.
as
we did.
Yeah,
we
as
did
much as
try.
you heard about it, it's not even that. It's boring. It's boring. Really, on it when it comes down to it, for me, it's just really boring. I understand it doesn't follow Tolkien. I understand it doesn't respect the IP and the lore. I get it, 100%. I agree with that. But for me, the main reason, it was fucking boring.
Everything about that show was flatter than Rick and Morty's True Level.
It was just bad. And She-Hulk too is on the list as well. She-Hulk was bad too. And you know what? Why I know She-Hulk, I know why I'm not crazy that She-Hulk was bad, other than everybody else thinking it's bad, is that our one friend who shall not be named, who usually gives these shows a little bit of leeway, said it was cringy as well.
Yeah, that show was cringy AF. I mean, let's be honest here. I want to be careful. You took a character that is known for lots of things, and then you took said character and just kind of did the reverse of it and just made her this completely...
Listen, I'll say it. You took a character that's known for her sexuality and just her positivity
And her feminine...
feminine power.
There we go.
and you completely destroyed it and didn't respect the IP, didn't respect... It's like you didn't even read any of the fucking comics, which you didn't. Which they admitted they didn't.
Well, it's probably like The Witcher. Maybe they didn't. They just didn't fucking care.
Which is sad because She-Hulk is a character that could have literally carried the MCU for the next couple of years.
Yeah, I mean,
she could have led it.
She could. I mean, I know he's coming anyways, but she could have been she really could have been like the DCU Deadpool.
Yeah,
or the DCU, the MCU Deadpool.
There's so much opportunity there, and they dead on arrival for it, which is disappointing.
It was disappointing.
The only good thing about that whole series was Madison with a Y, but you don't know where it is.
Not where you think it is.
Not where you think it is. And that's the only thing that made me chuckle. And it was just, yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Hey, Wongers.
A couple bad ones too. Lock and Keys last season was a little similar to Midnight Club, where it wasn't like bad TV. It was just, I think it was bad for the overall series.
Hey, hold on a second. I want to leave a little gap here for us to play like a sad trombone.
Wah, wah, wah. Okay. And then Resident Evil was really bad. I couldn't even get past like episode 2.
Yeah. Yeah, that was terrible.
And another one that I want to say is bad, Dahmer. With now, listen, I like Evan Peters. I think he's a great actor. I think he does phenomenal work with. I think he really carries American Horror Story on his back, and I think this kid should be given roles. But I don't like true crime that's just been beaten to a pulp. And we've heard the Dahmer story multiple times. The victim's family didn't want that done, was done with it. And I don't know why people need to continuously rehash these stories out when there are current cases and current things going on and current people missing and stuff that need more attention to it.
Not to mention, I'm very, very tired of what is...
If
you actually stop and look at it, the very disgusting trend of like, ooh, look at these sexy psychos.
Oh my God. There's a great podcaster, Sarah Turney, Turner. Is it Turney or Turner? Anyway, Voices for Justice. She's the one that used TikTok to help bring her sister's case to the spotlight and get her father arrested for it. And she had a clothing line, for a while. I should have bought it. It said like Ted Bundy is not sexy, or something to that extent.
I'm pretty sure that's what it said.
Them like making serial killers, like sexualizing Dahmer, sexualizing Bundy. It's gross. These people were monsters, and this is not. It's not cool. It's really not. It's not cool. It's not.
Like, I'm not saying there's not things to be learned from these stories.
But the thing is...
But that's not what these are.
Yeah, no. There's nothing that the Netflix series... First of all, I think it fluffed it too much.
Well, it's like masturbatory, culty,
it's
serial
gross.
Killer bullshit.
It's gross. It's similar to... Just now, Peacock gave Casey Anthony her own series, which... I'll never subscribe to Peacock because of that reason. Like, why? Why not give families and victim families and stuff like that? Why not give them a spotlight? Give them a way to give their voice out there to help other people. And that's why I like Sarah Turney, because she's all about making sure the victim's family and victims are okay with stuff like this. Too much of true crime nowadays is about glorifying the serial killer or the murderer and stuff. It's no longer.
We're just trying to make a buck off the story.
Yeah. So Dahmer to me is one of the worst TV shows. And then I don't think we have to really get into it, but we haven't really watched it. But Blood Origin was supposedly really bad.
I am actually going to give it a try, but
it's
only
4
because
episodes.
Everything I hear is just
the Witcher's done. Ooh. The Witcher's done. Season 1 was okay. It kept me entertained. Season 2 was all right. I'll keep going. Honestly, the only reason why I was watching it was Henry Cavill. so like, I think Henry Cavill fit the character so well, and he loves the lore and the whole thing. And when they announced that he was leaving, I really think nobody's gonna care for season 3
of Witcher.
of Witcher.
I'll check out season 3 of Witcher.
I mean, I'll check it
it's
out.
his last season,
But I
it's
don't
gonna
think
be
anybody
dog
really
shit.
cares anymore.
Yeah, it's been getting weaker and weaker as every episode's
And
gone
then Blood
on.
Origin had the last time we checked, it was like 8% on Rotten Tomatoes.
No, I think I just saw a new article. I think they're at like 11% now.
Oh.
But to me, the one thing that really because I feel like there's so many news articles out there. Oh, it's being review bound. I'm like, but look at the critic reviews. The critics who have been consistently favorable of
This stuff thinks it's garbage too.
Yeah, the 33% is not a good score. So to be like, oh, it's just people review bombing. It's like, no, everybody thinks this is trash. The reviewers were consistently nice to you, were as nice as they could be, and you still only got a meta score of 33%. That is awful. And quite frankly, for what should be such a popular IP, that's why I want to go in and spend the time to see what they did to it.
I don't know what the whole thing about taking fantasy series and just bombing it and hiring writers who, one, don't read the books, who don't even like the IP, who like, why, if you want a successful fantasy series, hire people who care about it, not people who want to change it, not people who want to spice it up, because people want to see these books and these books and comics and games into these shows because they want to continue to enjoy them, enjoy the story, you know, actually put heart into it, hire people who have heart for it, and then let it ride. That's why I think House of Dragon did so well versus Rings of Power or She-Hulk. Like, don't hire people who don't have knowledge or a background in this stuff or who don't have passion for it. You're hiring people who have their own agenda. Hire people who actually enjoy this stuff, and you'll start to see the love and appreciation come through the screen.
You put that money out there. Let's put it to the way that these studios need to understand it. If you put that money out there, that money will come back to you.
Yeah.
And it will bring friends.
And I'm not saying don't write things about current times or what you believe in, both morally and political. There's always going to be an audience for that stuff.
Be creative. Write your own shit.
Create your own stuff. Like if you wanted a fantasy series like Rings of Power and the stuff they did, literally just take away the Lord of the Rings part, write your own fantasy series
and
about it.
And it's so lame and bad, you could literally change the name of everything in it, and I wouldn't even know it used to be a Lord of the Rings series.
Yeah, so but I'm saying, like, that stuff can be successful on its own for your right audience, but stop trying to vilify current fandoms and fans. I mean, I think that's why Star Wars isn't doing so hot, because it's just nobody can give you consistently good stuff. I know Andor was supposedly really good, but I hated
Rogue One so much that I wouldn't even give it a chance.
But that's the thing. It's not even that. All the previous Star Wars shows, they had our hopes high, and they fucking just bomb them. So nobody has an expectation.
Mandalorian
was good.
Mandalorian season 2 was good.
Mandalorian season 3, and by season 3 I mean the little bit he was in Boba Fett. That's what
I was literally just about to go. And the book of Boba Fett was a great 2.5 season.
But the thing is, Mandalorian was a character created for Mandalorian. There's no like history of like I mean there's history of Mandalorians, but there's not history of that Mandalorian in the Star Wars galaxy. But they took legacy characters like Boba Fett, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and fucking destroyed them. So, like, why? You could easily make money by writing this stuff. Anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent.
Well, I'll tell you why, because to quote Skeletor, yeah, fuck you, that's why.
Apparently. So, alright, let's go into best movies.
Best movies.
And worst movies.
I don't know if I saw any movies this year.
We didn't see really many movies this year. What was your favorite movie of 2022?
Ooh, man, my favorite movie of 2022 is probably... Well, it's hard to not start with the most recent one that we saw. In keeping with the holiday spirit, let's start with Violent Night.
Violent Night was pretty good.
With David
I'm not
Harbour.
gonna lie, Violent Night was really good.
Or as they should have called it, Violent Night, the trailer for Violent Night 2. Once again, the search for more money.
Yes. No, it was really good. It's a John Wick Santa Claus movie.
Yeah.
easily. That's the easiest
So
way
there's
to
like,
explain it.
yeah, there's like some half-baked background story about how somehow Santa used to be a Viking, and he's just been doing this, and he's
Another Norse mythology.
yeah.
Jeez, man. It's coming back in popularity.
Yeah, and so essentially he becomes like house gets taken over by terrorists, and he ends up freeing the little girl for Christmas.
I like the villain though. What's his name?
Mr. Scrooge?
Yeah. Oh, why can't I think of what's his name? John.
John Leguizamo.
Thank you. I always like John. I think he's any show movie. I think he's like Bacon.
Hold on.
He just
Any show movie?
Okay, maybe not any show and movie, but
Luigi.
yeah, I liked
Oh, wah, wah,
the
wah.
original Mario Brothers. I grew up on that stuff.
Bru-du-du-du-du-du-du-du-du.
For me, the best movie would be Nope.
Wah, 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 na, 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 na. Nope.
Yeah,
The best movie?
for 2022.
Nope was a good movie.
I really enjoyed Nope.
Best movie of 2022.
Well, I mean, Nope scared the shit out of me.
Well, you're terrified of aliens.
Yeah.
And so you went, oh God, it's an alien. It's a whole ship full of aliens. Oh God, the ship itself is an alien.
I think it was great. I think Keke Palmer is like one of the rising stars. I thought she was fantastic in it. The whole concept of bringing the story of the monkey and then the alien ship coincide with it. Just, I think overall it was great. I think honestly, it was one of my favorite movies of 2022.
I'm gonna be real honest. I think you cut the monkey. You put it out there. I've saved some time. I've had almost as good of a time, and I've also saved like 20-30 minutes.
Yeah, but there's like levels of meanings and we don't have to get into it, but yeah.
I know there's levels of meaning, but
I think it's great. I thought it was great. I thought it was, I mean, I like everything Jordan Peele has put out there. Not gonna lie. I've enjoyed all of his movies. It makes you think. To me, it leaves me leaving the theater and just dissecting everything. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
I mean, not that movie.
It was really
That movie
refreshing
had you
too.
leaving the theater staring at the sky going, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck.
Well, that movie was really refreshing too because it was a different concept of aliens.
Yeah.
You know, so I thought it was great. I also enjoyed this year Black Phone. I thought that was good too.
Black Phone was good. For sure.
It could have been better though. I feel like it was a little lackluster in the scary zone of it, but it was a great story.
Ethan Hunt was in that year.
Yeah, that mask was creepy. Day Shift we really enjoyed.
Day Shift was a fantastic Halloween film because they did a
Campy vampire movie.
Well, one of the things I liked about it is I feel like they did a modern camp.
Yeah.
Like they did a good job of making it campy without being like, hey guys, look how campy we're making it. Like, no, we're making a modern movie, but it's also campy.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Old school vampire hunting movie. It was pretty cool.
Can we just admit that the best scene of that movie was the nest when they're with like the two Eastern European brothers?
Yes.
Yes, that was I love that. That was so stupid, but like action, fun, satisfying.
I also enjoyed Fresh, which you didn't watch, but I did, and I thought it was really good on Hulu. With Sebastian Stan, I thought that was great. And then I think we both enjoyed The Gray Man. I mean, I know it didn't live up to the hype, and it definitely didn't live up to its budget, but I thought it was fun. It was fun. That's what I liked about it.
Let's talk about what The Gray Man was, though, which is really an excuse for Chris Evans to not play Captain America.
Also an excuse for Chris Evans to grow a mustache.
Fair. And these are both things that I'm actually totally okay with. I was okay with him as the villain. Actually, I thought he was kind of stole the show. I thought everything he did was great, especially in his last fight. I thought was a lot of fun. And I think the mustache, I think it suits him.
And but we haven't seen Top Gun Maverick, which I know came out this year.
Mm-hmm. Hey, it's streaming now. We can.
It's streaming. We'll watch it. We just never got a chance to see it, and I know everybody loves it. And I know people will be screaming, "Why aren't you mentioning Top Gun Maverick?" It's because we haven't seen it. I'm sure we'll like it, but we just haven't seen it. We also haven't seen the new Avatar movie, which I'll be frank with you, I have no desire to see. I was not really hyped up on the first one. I thought it was adult Ferngully. I don't understand how there's going to be 7 of them supposedly. No,
there won't.
I don't get it. I don't get the hype of it. I understand it might look beautiful, but from what my sources tell me, it looks great, but the story is still lacking. So if you enjoy it, great.
More power to you.
And I know I'll probably stream it, and then I can hear Gary in the background screaming into my ear, Gary Schultz, going, "No, this movie is meant to be seen on big screen. If you're gonna stream it, don't even worth to watch it." Well, listen, my bladder can't handle over 3 hours sitting in a movie theater.
It's a different way of water.
So I'm gonna stream it. Yes, a different way of water. So, worst movies of 2022, I would have to say which mostly are Marvel. There's 2 Marvel movies on this: Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, and I don't care what anybody says, I absolutely love Sam Raimi. I think Sam Raimi's fantastic. Sam Raimi either was in over his head or his hands were tied behind his back, because the movie could have been so much better, but it sucked. And if you think you disagree with me, I'm glad to debate you on it.
Well, I just feel like the way Doctor Strange went, I know we've hatched this out before. It just, I don't even know if I want to say it was like his hands tied behind his back. I'm worried he could be losing touch.
Well, I don't even think he's losing touch.
Tricks.
I think Sam Raimi has a certain itch. It works for him. It's great. I loved his. Is one of the reasons why I loved doing special effects makeup and stuff. Evil Dead, Army of Darkness, all that great stuff.
Spider-Man.
But this movie had a lot of problems going on with it from the get-go. It was supposed to be Marvel's first horror movie. When I watched this is not a horror movie. This is just, I don't know what it is, but I would love to see the Sam Raimi cut of it, like if he could take it and just cut it to what he would want it, versus with the studio.
Should have been James Wan.
James Wan would have been great at it, but he was,
100%.
He's tied to Aquaman for DC.
He doesn't need to be.
I also put
not anymore.
Thor Love and Thunder on this, but you liked it.
Yeah, I had a different reaction than most people to Thor Love and Thunder. There were some parallels in there that just hit me a little different, so I'll let you go ahead and say your piece.
I just didn't like it. I don't like how they pretty much just...
They dumbed Thor down. They dumbed everything down in it. But
Hemsworth even said he would come back to play Thor if it sounded right, because he was tired. I think he's tired of fucking playing a dumb Thor.
Yeah, well, because he when he came in, he was supposed to be one of the big 3. He's supposed to be Thor. And then they tried to do a Thor movie, and the first Thor movie, while you enjoyed it, was not considered one of the best Marvel films. And that's the nicest I'll say it. And he never got like a big epic brawl. I mean, yeah, he has fights in every movie, and you can always point out to the fact that
he's
when
always
he
been the
shows
comedic relief.
Yeah, when he shows up in Infinity War at the end, that's like one of the coolest scenes in all of Marvel. But yeah, they use him as stupid comedic relief, and the character has a lot more to him, and so does the actor.
Yeah, it's sad. I would like to see it. I mean, granted, I like Jane Foster Thor, the comics, and so
Art's so good.
I knew it was eventually coming. Her costume was great, but overall, Taika Waititi, I feel like he has a similar issue, kind of like James Gunn. I think James Gunn's better at it, but where he sticks to a certain kind of slap comedy, and it's overplayed. Mm-hmm. Like the Ragnarok was great. I enjoyed Ragnarok. I thought Rand was great, but Ragnarok wasn't written by him. Thor: Love and Thunder was, and I don't know. It didn't work for me. The goats were annoying. I couldn't do the goats anymore.
The goats are all you got, though.
No, there's a lot more problems set. Black Adam, which I watched, which the best part of that Black Adam was 2 things. 1, Dr. Fate was really cool in it, and then 2,
and then the end,
Henry Cavill's credit scene with his old school Superman curl and the old school suit. Other than that, I don't know more to say to it.
I didn't watch Black Adam.
It wasn't a Black Adam movie. It was a Rock.
It was a Dwayne the Rock
Johnson movie. Yeah,
and that's what I thought it was going to be this whole time. It's why I had zero interest in watching it. Critically, I appear to have been correct, but until I watch it, I cannot confirm that. But I'll say this: one of the scariest things I've heard coming out of Black Adam is not only that they're not going, it doesn't sound like they're going to be making any more of them, but that people have been saying, oh, that just means he's free to do Marvel now. Dear Marvel, I know you're not listening to me, but right now you should be. You already have Ego, the living planet. You don't need someone who has an ego the size of a living planet. All right? Let's keep Dwayne the Rock Johnson
in Fast and Furious.
Yeah. Let him be Fast and Furious. Let him be in somebody else's franchise. Keep him out of comic books. He doesn't want to make other people's movies.
well-
He wants to make him movies.
The rumor is that he also didn't want to do any cutscenes for Shazam, because that's why he wanted Henry Cavill as Superman, because he wanted to play, air quotes, in the big league. But Black Adam is known more for Mr. Marvel, Shazam.
Mr. Marvel.
Okay, sorry, not Mr. Marvel, Captain Marvel.
Nope, it's Mr. Marvel forever now.
Whatever. You know what I mean? So, like, you're in that universe, buddy. Like, I'm not saying Superman and Black Adam don't meet up and fight
Yeah,
at
they've
some
never
point.
come across each other. But no, I
But
absolutely understand
he's
what you're saying.
more well known for Shazam. Like,
Yeah.
that's your universe, bud. And he was like, nah, that's too low. I'm like
Stay in your lane, brother.
stay in your lane, bro.
Let's be honest. If you're talking about Dwayne The Rock Johnson, the best movie he's ever put out, was The Rundown.
The Rundown.
I put that on what I'm guessing is probably 2002's best movies.
And then Secrets of Dumbledore. I don't even want to get into it, but it was pretty bad.
They should have stayed secret.
That whole franchise, just so many problems with the whole thing. I told you
wasn't
today
good. It was boring.
they're talking about rebooting the whole Harry Potter series.
No,
I mean, I'm game. I would be interested to see the difference.
I mean, I'm not going to pretend I wouldn't go see it. I feel like it's not that old, that it needs a reboot.
And then Bullet Train was a disappointment.
I
thought
saw
it was
that
fun,
trailer
though.
so many times. I wanted it. It looked so good. It looked good the whole time. I'll say that. It did look good.
Just the story was pretty lacking on it.
I'm pretty sure I wrote that story.
And then I would say the worst movie of 2022. And this is saying it because before I watched this movie, I thought Doctor Strange was Morbius. Holy cow, that movie was garbage.
No, I'd rather watch Morbius than Doctor Strange.
I don't know about
no,
that.
No, hold on. I think you forget there's a little dance scene in there.
With Matt Smith, who's the only...
The best couple minutes of that show,
yeah.
or that movie. Oh, by the way, only because I was so close, The Rundown came out in 2003.
Oh, wow.
I was so close.
We were still in high school.
I probably still have the DVD somewhere.
But yeah, those would be the worst movies.
The worst.
You know what I'm looking forward to in 2023? Well, first of all, I've never played Last of Us, but that looks pretty good, the HBO series. And you know why I mix in? So I trust HBO with kind of dark stuff like that, because HBO did The Outsider, a Stephen King series, and it was really good. It actually was, I think, better than the book, which is rare. So I think they could do Last of Us pretty well. Granted, I never played the game. I know the storyline, but I don't know how it ends. I don't know any spoilers for it.
I know the spoilers. I didn't play the second one. I played through the first one, and
which
like,
is
I'm not,
one is based off.
Yeah, I'm not
yeah.
gonna say like when it came out, like it wasn't just this absolutely drop dead gorgeous game. I
But
never
you don't like zombies.
Yeah, but it's not even what the story is, and like I never understood the fascination with Last of Us. And I'm not saying it was bad. I'm saying it was a good game, but people talk about it like it's end all be all top 10 of all time. Like you don't even need to worry about whatever comes out. It's always gonna be in the top 10. And I don't get that fervor for it.
I'm still excited. I mean, I think they casted really well for
I
it.
give it a set. Ooh, here you go. I'll give it a 7.9 because I don't think it deserves an 8. But man, it should almost be a B.
What do you think of the cast team for the...
Well, I love who they cast for Joel, the Mandalorian. Help me out with his name.
See, I rarely remember my own name, so isn't it Pedro Pascal?
I remembered it like the exact... Oh,
I
you
didn't-
looked it up. I remembered it.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal.
I mean, I like anything Pedro Pascal does, so
Yeah.
him and Oscar Isaac too.
And Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill too. Henry Cavill, yeah. Yeah.
You right over there?
I'm fine.
You're real fine over there.
Oppenheimer? Is it
Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer? Thank you. Oppenheimer. I will watch
Become
anything with
Death.
Cillian Murphy in it. Cillian Murphy to
Cillian
me,
Murphy?
or Killian Murphy. Cillian, whatever. Cillian Murphy.
Mr. Murphy does great work.
I liked Peaky Blinders, which actually should have been on our best TV, but in my opinion, but I think the last couple seasons kind of
Yeah.
I like him as an actor because he like do you really hear any drama about him?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. Listen, drama, no drama. I'm not here for people.
I think he acts really well.
I know. I think he's a great actor, unless you count the last little bit of Peaky Blinders. But
Which
that's
they're
not his
going to
fault.
finish up, I think, with a movie.
That wasn't his fault. He's just working with what he was given.
But it'll be interesting to see Nolan do a biography, because all of Nolan's movies are like either like Batman come from an IP, but are original stories. So it'll be interesting to see him direct a biography. Cast looks wonderful too. That's probably one of the ones I'm looking forward to. I'm also looking forward to Barbie, which I think is going to be fun and weird.
I think it's going to be weird, that's for sure.
Ryan Gosling as Ken looks perfect.
You know, I saw Ryan Gosling do an interview where they started to ask him about Ken, and I tell you, it didn't look like...
He was enthusiastic about it.
Yeah, and it wasn't like
But Ryan Gosling
I'm
never
tired
looks
of
like he's
talking.
enthusiastic about anything.
This I've seen other interviews. This was different than normal. This was felt like more of a nope, you're right. This is coming out.
Yeah. Oh, maybe. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be interesting. I mean, how do you make a Barbie movie for adults?
I'll meet you in the middle. I think it's going to do just as well as all of other Margot Robbie's other movies that have come out very recently.
Don't say that. No,
I'm not trying to curse her. I don't want to curse the film. I wish everyone success and want everyone to do well. But yeah, I fear that that's the route it's going to go.
I also Dune 2 is coming out, which I regrettably did not see Dune 1 in theaters because at the time I was reading the book.
So also AMC, if you're listening, put that back in theaters before 2 comes out so we can go see it in the
I
big
hope
screen.
they do. Most likely they will, because they did the same thing, I think, with Top Gun. Yeah, I believe
they
to
did.
get more revenue, would make sense to be like, hey, we're bringing back Dune 1 for a period of time before 2 releases.
And the good news is you could actually go see a double showing, hopefully, of Dune 1 and
Oh,
Dune
God,
2.
no.
Well, no, hold on. Because
They're like 3 hours long.
Well, I was going to say, it was probably about the same length as whatever the third Avatar is going to be.
No, the third
It'll be
Avatar
like
right now is
practice for
listed
Avatar.
at 9 hours right now.
Yeah, fuck off.
I said, does the ticket come with a catheter?
Or and a sleeping bag.
And a sleeping bag?
Provisions.
And provisions? Like, will they have an intermission? Bring back intermissions. Listen, if you want to have long ass movies in theaters,
Yeah.
I'm cool. I'm game for it.
I'm here for it.
As
But
long
you gotta
as
bring back intermission.
intermissions.
But I want
Bring back
classic.
intermissions.
I want
Like 15-minute
classic.
intermissions where they go like, okay, black screen. It
Oh, no,
says
no.
15-minute intermission.
We're
And
gonna
you get up, you stretch, you go get some soda, some popcorn, maybe use the bathroom.
You're not going classic enough.
What?
We're gonna open up our own movie theater. We'll
No,
have
we're not.
no. You ready? I know. Of course we're not. This is a totally fictional scenario. It's for the podcast. And what we'll do is we open up our own theater. We do it totally classic, right? We put an intermission in every movie. And you don't do it for 15 minutes, and then people go get snacks, and they go get their drinks, and they go whatever, right? No, you go classic. Tickets are a little more expensive. At break, an intermission, everyone gets, there's like coffee waiting for you. There's like a slice of cake.
Oh, that'd be great.
I mean, go truly classic
It's like
old school
intermission.
theater intermission.
Or you could do what some theaters do, like that Harry Potter show that's been on Broadway, where you have to buy tickets for like part 1 and part 2. But yes, bring back intermissions. You want a 9-hour movie? Bring back intermissions. You know, you want more than 3 hours? I mean, Endgame was a lot. Endgame was quite a bit. Was it Endgame? Yeah, Endgame and Infinity War are pretty long.
Yeah, but
I think Endgame was longer though.
unlike Avatar, those two movies have proven themselves to be able to keep my attention the entire way through.
Not my bladder though. But I love James Cameron movies. Some bangers, man. All right. But for him to go, oh yeah, movie's too long and you go use the bathroom. Well, you'll just come back and watch it again and you'll see the scene you miss. For him to be like,
No, I will
no,
not.
I'm not paying to see a 3-hour movie twice. Like, so, yeah, but anyway, I do want to see Dune 2. I do want to see John Wick 4. That looks great. I am actually
Finally.
excited for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. See how this
I'm
whole
really
trilogy
interested.
ends. I'm not super excited for Ant-Man other than Jonathan Majors, because I think Jonathan Majors is an upcoming...
Who also looks
Star.
awesome in the new Creed movie.
Oh,
I saw
yeah.
him in it. I mean, he put on the weight, he put on the muscle.
He's
Looks
just
like
a
he
great
did the
actor
work.
overall. I think he's just fantastic overall in anything he's done. I mean, I really enjoyed that H.P. Lovecraft show, that Lovecraft County, I think. Towards the end, you thought it got a little weird, but overall, I thought it was great.
I understand it's Lovecraft, and that's what Lovecraft does, is weird like that. But I mean, like, for the rest of the show to be like, kind of normal spooky sci-fi, kind of normal spooky sci-fi, kind of normal, and then you get towards the end, it's like, oh, by the way,
It's
you were at, like, we had spooky sci-fi turned up to like 2. We're gonna turn this up to 12.
But I would say there's not really any other movies I'm like super excited for 2023.
Well, I think with everything going the way it did in the last year for us, and then you have just the way the world's been in the last year, and then, quite frankly, we love Marvel movies, and those have been kind of marveled out. Yeah,
I'm really actually kind of marveled.
Well, and they did it to themselves.
It's not even they did it to themselves. They built 10 years of golden MCU. It was fantastic. They took a character that, frankly, nobody knew about, Iron Man. I mean, I know, okay, listen, comic book heads. I understand. I get it.
He was literally created by Stan Lee as a character to not be liked.
I understand. But prior to Robert Downey taking over the role and putting out that first movie, no, like, I'm talking about somebody who never read the comics. You'll ask them, what Marvel characters? They might say Captain America, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man. I highly doubt anybody would say Iron Man until that movie. So they built basically an empire.
Well, I think they've kind of screwed themselves on it at this point. I think the best thing they could have done for the MCU, and I think it would have been a show of grace as well, I think Kevin Feige should have stepped down after Spider-Man. I think that was Spider-Man No Way Home was the prologue to the entire 10 years. Excuse me, the epilogue of the entire 10 years. And it was very clear at this point they were going to have to do something different, and they were going to have to come up with a new plan. And I think that so far I feel proven relatively correct, because I think that most stuff come out.
I think Phase 4 is very experimental.
Yeah, I don't want to call it experimental. I should call it lame.
No, I think it was very experimental. I think they thought they had the trust and built in for fans that no matter what they were going to put out, people were going to show up to the theaters. And for the first part of the phase, yes, the TV shows, like, I liked WandaVision. I thought it was really well. I was okay with Loki. The other ones, not so much a fan of. I thought, honestly, Falcon and Winter Soldier had a lot of potential. And in my head, I would have been like, I would have given the Russo brothers any amount of money they wanted to write that entire series.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't do that. That was criminally insane.
So, like, they had relationships and opportunities to really be experimental with this phase, but I think they didn't account for the fact that they were hiring people who don't love the MCU. For the first 10 years, they had people who were excited, who were thrilled, who enjoyed the stuff. And it falls back similar to The Witcher and all these other IPs.
Well,
you give money to people to write these things that really don't care about the fandom, don't care about the lore, don't care about the IP, and they just pop out this stuff.
Well, and that's why I think what you said earlier was really close, but not, to me, in my opinion, not quite there. When you're saying that, they thought Phase 4, we're going to go a little more experimental. The fan base is there. The fan base will show up. They will be at the theaters. No. In my opinion, that story is almost all the way correct until you get to the point to say they will be at the theaters, because the only way they're looking at it, and it shows to me in the crap that they put out in the last year, in the Phase 4, they said they're going to show up to the theaters to see it. They're going to show up and empty their wallets. And I think that's really, to me, that's how they treated their fans. Yeah,
especially with their parks and stuff too.
Yeah,
it's a shame. I think the first 10 years they were respectful of the fans. I think so. I'm hoping with all these different studios and things, people have learned their lesson. I don't know if they have. I don't know if Amazon has learned their lesson with Rings of Power. I don't know if, Marvel's learned their lesson with She-Hulk. I don't know if Netflix has learned its lesson with shows like Resident Evil and Blood Origin. But I'm hoping, I have real hope that maybe, just maybe, the lack of money that they made this year will somehow influence them to realize, because I think that's what's happening over at WB after they fired everybody and let go everybody and HBO, and then
getting their house in order.
It's not even bringing on James Gunn to lead DCO. The whole studio was like, we're not making money. We're not making money. These projects are just failing. We're not making money. We need to do a whole recon of the whole thing.
Retcon, but yeah.
Retcon. And maybe other studios will follow. Maybe they'll finally hire people who love this stuff.
I think we're heading towards a larger cultural shift in general for like pop culture like that.
I think where it's shifting into more fantasy related IP, because that seems to be this past year what's been really big.
I think there's a lot of room to move in that, and that's probably why it's going in that direction. But I don't want to break down where we're going in the future. I feel like we put together a pretty good show here, and you mentioned the word hope, and I think hope should be the theme for pop culture moving
for
forward
2023.
in 2023.
Yep.
A new hope.
Yeah, I really hope this coming year we will start to see projects and things out that don't divide people anymore, that just everybody overall just comes together, just like WandaVision did. The first half of WandaVision, it didn't matter what side of the fandom you were into, everybody thought Mephisto was in there somewhere.
It's Madison. It was Madison the whole time.
But you see what I mean? Like, I hope that 2023, everybody's learned their lesson, everybody can come together, and we can stop harping on each other and enjoy each other and just be open-minded about it.
Well, then let me end this with a surprise segment for you. We're going to end on hope. The man that said the symbol on his chest on his world means hope. What roles should Henry Cavill take now that he is a free agent?
All of them.
All of the roles.
I think he should be the next 007.
I think he should have been Dr. Doom. Oh my.
I think he should have been Dr. Doom.
Sorry, everybody just take a second and think about Henry Cavill as Dr. Doom. I know it's gone, it's past, it's not going to happen, but that would have been amazing.
In my reality, a younger Henry Cavill would have been a great Dresden.
I would have him as Dresden.
Yeah, a younger. I mean, even now.
No, I was still taking him as Dresden.
Yeah. I would love to see him back as Superman at some point. I know there's rumors that maybe he'll be in Kingdom Come as an older Superman, but I really, whoever will pick up the cape has some big shoes to fill.
If you were going to make him a Marvel hero,
any Marvel hero?
Now that he's free, let's give
Cyclops.
Give me. Oh, I do love that picture that we've seen online. Yeah, I would take. He's too old for Cyclops now. At his current age, who could he be? Magneto. Ooh, I'm okay with that.
I don't think no. I think even at his current age, he could be Cyclops.
You think?
Depending on where they're going to start the X-Men in.
That's 100% fair, because in my head I feel like they're going to start him way younger this time. I think they're going to try and pick a team that's going to be people who can stick around for several movies. But now we're getting way off topic here. So you think Cyclops?
I think Cyclops. I even think Sabretooth.
Oh.
He could make a really good Sabretooth.
That could be fun.
He could also, yeah, I would say those are.
I mean, he could play Conan the Barbarian.
He could play that. I don't know why we haven't had a Conan the Barbarian series. I don't know why is it too masculine for people? Like, I don't know what is going on, but I don't know why no one has picked up that IP and just made it into a series. I feel like it would be a lot of fun. I feel like it would be really a lot of fun to watch it. Yeah, I think honestly he has to play somebody who's like physically intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I picked Cyclops, because Cyclops in the whole old Navy, the new suit, the Navy suit with the red. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where it's like a one piece.
Are you talking about the classic head condom?
Yes. Where I think lately, I haven't read it in a while, but like he was not evil, but he was the bad guy.
I know what you're talking about.
Dating Emma Frost.
No, he still is.
Oh, is he still?
I don't know. I don't keep up with the X-Men.
But I think Sabretooth would be great
so
too.
Whiny.
Because I would love to see a backstory on Sabretooth.
That'd be interesting.
And that would lead him up to whoever's going to be the new Wolverine clashing.
Fair point. I don't hate that. Ooh. All right. I'm throwing a wild one out there. I think he should play the gamma radiated hero of Samson.
You think so?
You know what I'm talking about, Doc Samson?
Yeah.
He was got the green hair, but he stayed relatively normal looking. It was Samson, right?
I feel like he needs to be a mainstream character, though. His name just carries enough weight now that I think he just needs to be a mainstream character. You know?
I mean, but I think that could be
But
something
he
fun
also
and
can
not
be
make him
a mainstream
character.
villain, too. He could definitely be
Well,
a
yeah,
mainstream
well, I said I
villain.
wanted to hear what villain you thought he would be as well. Yeah, Doc Samson. I was right.
Marvel villain other than Doom. Oh, man. I don't know.
We haven't played the Jackal for Clone Saga.
It would be cool. But, like, what is a well-known, the Juggernaut?
The Juggernaut. No. He's not physically imposing for something like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's huge.
Yeah. I don't know. I really don't know.
Well, I'll tell you what. Maybe that's a great place to end it. We'll talk about it more next time.
Yeah. So happy New Year's, everybody. I hope everyone enjoys their new year. I hope everyone has a prosperous and a new year full of blessing. I hope everyone is safe. And yeah, happy New
And
Year's.
don't forget to like, subscribe,
Oh, yes.
smash those like buttons, do all the good metric things for us. And, you know, if you're on Twitter, let us know at Inside All Day Pod.
Yep.
And let us know what you think Henry Cavill would be great at.
Yeah, that'd be great to hear. All right, guys. Peace out.
Deuces.